I still remember the way they looked at me, like I didn't belong, like I was a mistake. I stood in the middle of the engagement hall holding a small gift box in my hand. Everything around me sparkled. Crystal lights, expensive suits, designer dresses. And then there was me. Simple shirt, old shoes. Out of place. Is he really one of them? Someone whispered behind me. I heard he's from a poor background. That can't be true, right? I didn't turn, didn't react. I was used to it. I took a slow breath and walked forward. Each step echoed louder than it should have. Not because of the floor, but because of the silence building around me. All eyes were on me, judging, measuring, rejecting. And then I saw them. The 5 women I was supposed to marry. Ava, Sophia, Mia, Chloe, Isabella, 5 names. See, 5 powerful families. 5 futures I never asked for. And 5 women who clearly didn't want me. Ava crossed her arms the moment she saw me. So this is the guy our families picked? Sophia glanced at me from head to toe and laughed softly. He looks like he got lost on the way here. Mia didn't even try to hide it. He doesn't even fit in this room. Chloe tilted her head slightly. Is this some kind of joke? Isabella smirked. If it is, it's not a funny one. I stopped in front of them, calm, quiet, unshaken, at least on the outside. I brought something, I said, lifting the small box slightly. Ava raised an eyebrow. For who? All of you. Sophia chuckled. A shared gift? That's already a bad start. Mia shook her head. This is embarrassing. Chloe looked at the box with clear disinterest. What is that? A cheap gift? I met her eyes. It's not about the price. Isabella's smile widened slightly. Everything is about the price. The words settled into the air, heavy, sharp, unavoidable. Everything is about the price. I repeated it in my head, slowly, carefully, then I smiled, just a little. Good, I said quietly. Ava frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I replied. Sophia stepped closer. You don't seem nervous. Should I be? Mia scoffed. You're standing in a room where you don't belong. Chloe added, surrounded by people who don't want you here. Isabella finished, and engaged to 5 women who would never choose you. I nodded slowly. That sounds accurate. Ava narrowed her eyes. Then why are you so calm? I looked around the room, at the people whispering, or at the judgment, at the arrogance, then back at them. Because I already knew all of that. Sophia's expression shifted slightly. Oh? You think this is new to me? I continued. Being looked down on? Mia crossed her arms. So, you're used to being a disappointment? I shook my head. No. Chloe frowned. Then what? I'm used to being underestimated. Silence, brief but noticeable. Isabella studied me more carefully now. That confidence doesn't match your appearance. Maybe appearances are misleading. Ava let out a short laugh. Or maybe you're just pretending. Maybe, I said. Sophia tilted her head. So, what exactly are you trying to prove here? Nothing. Mia scoffed again. Then why show up? I looked directly at her. Because I was invited. Chloe smirked. Oh, that doesn't mean you belong. I stepped slightly closer. Then why am I still standing here? No one answered. For a moment, just a moment, the balance shifted. Subtle, but real. Ava broke the silence. You think this is some kind of game? No, I said calmly. I think this is reality. Sophia folded her arms. And what reality is that? That none of you want this. Mia replied instantly. Of course we don't. Chloe nodded. This whole arrangement is ridiculous. Isabella added, our family's made a mistake. Ava looked directly at me. And you're part of that mistake. I didn't react, didn't argue, didn't defend myself. Instead, I held out the box again. Then take it. Sophia raised an eyebrow. Why would we? Because it's yours. Mia laughed. I don't want anything from you. Chloe added, especially not something cheap. I looked at Isabella. And you? She stepped forward, took the box from my hand, turned it slightly. You're interesting, she said. Ava frowned. Isabella... She ignored her and opened the box. Inside, Silence. Her expression didn't change immediately, but her eyes did, just slightly. Sophia noticed. What is it? Mia leaned closer. Yeah, what's inside? Isabella closed the box slowly, then looked at me. For the first time. Not with mockery, but curiosity. What is this? She asked quietly. I met her gaze. Something simple. Ava grew impatient. Show us. Isabella hesitated for a second, then opened it again, just enough for the others to see. Their reactions changed, not dramatically, but enough. Sophia's smile faded slightly. Mia blinked. Chloe leaned in closer. On Ava's expression tightened. This doesn't make sense, Sophia said. Mia looked at me again. What kind of cheap gift is this? I didn't answer. Chloe whispered, There's no way. Ava looked directly into my eyes. Who are you? That question, that moment, that shift, that was the beginning. I smiled slightly, not arrogant, not proud, just certain. Someone you shouldn't underestimate. The room was still watching, still judging. But something had changed. They didn't see it yet, not fully, but they felt it, and so did I. Because for the first time in that room, I wasn't the man they looked down on. I was the man they didn't understand. And that was far more dangerous. That night. I didn't stay in the hall. I walked out. Quietly, no explanations, no goodbyes, just silence. The kind of silence that says more than words ever could. I stepped onto the balcony. Cold air hit my face. Below me, the city stretched endlessly. Lights everywhere, alive, moving, breathing. I rested my hands on the railing. For people like them, I muttered, this is just a view. I exhaled slowly. For me, I looked out again. This is everything. My phone rang. I didn't check the name. I already knew who it was. I answered. Yes? Sophia Bennett speaking, the voice said calmly. The board is waiting. I closed my eyes for a second. The contrast almost made me laugh. Just an hour ago, I was a mistake. Now? They're waiting? Yes, she replied. They expected you tonight. I had something more important. A brief pause. I assume it didn't go well. I let out a quiet breath. You could say that. Do you want me to reschedule the meeting? No. When will you arrive? Tomorrow. Understood. Another pause. Then she added, Mr. Carter, are you sure you're ready to reveal yourself? I opened my eyes and looked at the city again. No. She didn't sound surprised. Then why now? Because they made the decision for me. Silence, then softly. I see. I adjusted my sleeve slightly. Prepare everything. The board, the press, the announcement, all of it. Her tone shifted, more serious now. Yes, Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter. I repeated it in my head, slowly, carefully, not poor hick, not embarrassment, not mistake. I ended the call. The screen went dark, and for a moment, so did everything else. I looked at my reflection in the glass. Same face, same eyes, same man, but not the one they thought I was. For 3 years, I said quietly, I hid everything. The reflection didn't answer. Of course it didn't. It didn't need to. I already knew why. Because I wanted something real. I laughed softly. Not money. A pause. Not power. Another pause. Just love. The word felt strange now, distant, almost unfamiliar. Was that too much to ask? I whispered. Memories flashed. Late nights, waiting, hoping, believing. And tonight? Tonight proved something simple. They didn't care about who I was, I said, my voice steadier now. Only what I looked like. I straightened slightly. The weakness I felt earlier was gone, or replaced by something else. Clarity. Cheap clothes, old shoes, out of place. I smirked. That's all it took. I ran a hand through my hair and looked down at the streets. Cars moved, people walked, lives continued, unaware, unbothered. They judged me without knowing anything, I said, and I let them. That part. That was on me. I gave them that version of me. A version that was easy to dismiss, easy to ignore, easy to underestimate. But that ends now. The words came out firm, final. I adjusted my sleeve again. This time, slower, more deliberate. You wanted value? I muttered. A faint smile appeared. I'll show you value. My phone buzzed again, a message this time. Sophia Bennett. Everything will be ready by morning. I typed back. Good, then paused, added one more line. Make sure they're all there. Her reply came instantly. They will be. I locked the phone, looked at my reflection one last time. You had your chance, I said quietly, to see me for who I am. The man in the glass didn't look uncertain anymore, didn't look small, didn't look out of place. He looked dangerous. Tomorrow, I whispered, you'll see what you missed. The wind picked up slightly, the city lights flickered in the distance, and for the first time that night, I smiled. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of certainty. Because tomorrow wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about revealing the truth. And the truth was simple. I was never the man they looked down on. I was the man they never deserved to look up to. The next morning, I didn't rush. I didn't hesitate. I just showed up. Carter Global Holdings stood in front of me. Glass, steel, power, my building, my company, my world. I stepped forward. The doors opened instantly. Good morning, sir. Welcome back, Mr. Carter. No whispers, no judgment, just respect. I nodded slightly. Good morning. The receptionist stood up quickly. Sir, the board is already waiting. I know. I kept walking, calm, steady. Every step echoed differently here. Not loud, not heavy, controlled, because this was where I belonged. I entered the elevator, alone. For a moment, silence surrounded me again. But this silence was different. It wasn't empty. It was powerful. I looked at my reflection in the elevator glass. Same face, I said quietly. Nah, but a different world. The doors opened. Top floor, boardroom level. Sophia Bennett was waiting outside. Professional, composed. Everything is ready, Mr. Carter. Are they inside? Yes. All of them? She nodded. And their representatives. I smiled slightly. Good. She hesitated for a second. They don't know. I know. Do you want me to? No. I stopped her. I'll handle it. She stepped aside. Of course. I walked toward the boardroom doors. Paused. Just for a second. Not because I was nervous, but because I knew the moment I stepped in, everything would change. I pushed the door open. The conversation inside stopped instantly. Silence. Then, Ava frowned. What is he doing here? Sophia leaned toward her slightly. Did he come to embarrass himself again? Mia shook her head. La, this is getting ridiculous. Chloe looked irritated. Security should have stopped him. Isabella didn't speak. She just watched me. Carefully. I walked in, closed the door behind me. No rush, no reaction, just calm. I moved toward the table, toward the head seat. Ava noticed first. Wait, where do you think you're going? I didn't answer. Sophia stood slightly. That seat is reserved, Mia added, for someone important. Chloe crossed her arms. You're clearly in the wrong place. I reached the chair, placed my hand on it, then looked at them. All of you are right, Ava frowned. What? This seat is reserved. Sophia tilted her head. Then move. I pulled the chair back and sat down. Silence, immediate, heavy, unavoidable. Mia blinked. What are you doing? Chloe shook her head. No. This isn't funny. Ava's voice hardened. Get up. I leaned back slightly, relaxed, calm, unbothered. I think I'm exactly where I need to be. Sophia frowned. This is unacceptable. Isabella finally spoke, quiet, careful. Let him speak. Everyone turned toward her, then back to me. That's when the door opened again. Sophia Bennett walked in, professional as always, tablet in hand. She stood beside me, then addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, her voice was calm, clear, controlled. Please welcome the CEO of Carter Global. A pause, just long enough. Daniel Carter. Silence, complete silence, no whispers, no reactions, just shock. Mia's eyes widened first. That's not possible. Chloe shook her head slowly. No, there's no way. Sophia leaned back in her chair, stunned. Ava didn't move, didn't speak, didn't breathe. Isabella. just stared at me like she was finally seeing me for the first time. I leaned back in my chair, same calm expression, same steady gaze. But now, everything was different. Ava's voice came out barely above a whisper. "You're him?" I looked at her. "Yes." Sophia spoke next. "You're the CEO?" "Yes." Mia shook her head. "This doesn't make sense." Chloe added, "You were just a mistake?" I finished calmly. Silence again. Ava's hands tightened slightly. "You lied to us." I tilted my head. "Did I?" "You hid this," she said. "Yes." "Why?" That one mattered. I looked at all of them, one by one, because I wanted to see something real. Sophia frowned. "And what did you see?" I smiled slightly. "Exactly what I expected." Mia looked away. Chloe didn't speak. Ava swallowed hard. Isabella held my gaze, unbroken. Respect, I said calmly, was never about who I was. A pause. It was about what I looked like. No one argued, because no one could. I placed my hands on the table, calm, controlled. Now! I glanced around the room, at their faces, their shock, their realization. The meeting. A small pause. Then I said, "Let's begin." And just like that, everything changed. The meeting ended, but the silence didn't. Not for them. I stood up, closed the file in front of me. "Thank you for your time," I said calmly. No one responded. They were still processing, still trying to understand what had just happened. Or maybe who I really was. I turned and walked toward the door. No rush, no hesitation, just control. The kind they used to have, the kind they just lost. As I stepped out into the hallway, I heard footsteps behind me. Fast, uneven. "Daniel, wait!" Ava. Of course it was her. I stopped. But I didn't turn immediately. I let the silence sit. Let the moment stretch. Then slowly, I turned around. They were all there. Ava in front, Sophia beside her, Mia slightly behind, Chloe trying to hold her composure, and Isabella, watching quietly, carefully, always observing. "What is it?" I asked calmly. Ava stepped forward. Her voice was different, softer, careful. "Why didn't you tell us?" I tilted my head slightly, studying her. Would it have mattered? Silence, immediate, heavy. Sophia looked away first. Mia lowered her gaze. Chloe forced a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. No one answered, because they couldn't. I nodded slightly. That's what I thought. Sophia stepped forward next. "We didn't know." Her voice wasn't mocking anymore. It wasn't confident. It was uncertain. "You didn't care," I corrected calmly. She froze, just for a second. Mia spoke quietly. "That's not fair." I looked at her. "Isn't it?" She hesitated, then looked down. Chloe stepped in quickly, trying to fix it, trying to regain control. "We can fix this," she said. On forcing confidence into her voice, I shook my head, slowly. "There's nothing to fix," Ava frowned. "Daniel?" "No," I said, calm but firm. "You already made your decision." Her expression tightened. That was exactly what it was. Silence again. They weren't used to this. Not from me, not from the man they thought I was. Sophia crossed her arms slightly, but it wasn't defensive, it was uncertain. "We misjudged you." Isabella spoke this time, quiet, clear, honest. I looked at her for a moment longer than the others. "Yes," I said, "you did." She didn't argue, didn't look away. She just nodded slightly, accepting it. Ava stepped closer. "I didn't mean what I said yesterday." I almost smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. "You did," I replied. "What? No. You just didn't expect to be wrong." That hit. I saw it in her eyes. The realization, the discomfort, the shift. Mia spoke softly. "We thought you were..." She trailed off. I finished it for her. "Nothing?" She didn't respond. Because that's exactly what she thought. Chloe tried again. "You have to understand..." "I do understand," I interrupted calmly. That stopped her. I stepped slightly closer, not aggressive, not threatening, just present. You saw someone who didn't fit your world. I glanced at each of them. One look, one judgment. Ava's voice dropped. We didn't know who you were. I nodded. That's the point. Silence. You didn't try to know. Sophia looked at me again, this time differently, more carefully, more seriously. And now? She asked. What happens now? That question, that was the real one. I took a slow breath, looked at the building behind me, then back at them. Now? A small pause. You live with your decision. Ava shook her head. That's not fair. I held her gaze. It wasn't fair yesterday either. That ended it. No arguments, no clever replies, just truth. Uncomfortable, unavoidable truth. Mia whispered, We didn't think... I know, I said. That was the problem. Chloe's voice softened. You're different than we thought. I looked at her. No. A pause. I'm exactly who I've always been. Isabella spoke again. And we didn't see it. I nodded. No, you didn't. For the first time, none of them had control. No confidence, no power, no advantage, just regret. And they felt it. I could see it in their eyes, in their silence, in the way they stood there, unsure, unsteady, human. I stepped back slightly, creating distance, not just physically, but completely. This conversation is over, I said calmly. Ava took a step forward. Daniel, I raised a hand slightly, stopping her, not harsh, just final. There's nothing more to say. She froze, because she knew. There wasn't. I turned around, started walking away. This time, no hesitation, no looking back. Behind me, silence. Because for the first time, they understood something, not about me, about themselves, and it was too late to change it. Weeks passed, and everything changed. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just steadily. My office door opened as my assistant stepped in. Mr. Carter, the investors are ready for you. I'll be there in a minute, I said. She nodded. They've been waiting. I gave a small smile. They usually do. She hesitated for a second. You've been getting a lot of calls again. I know. Should I keep ignoring them? I didn't even look up from my file. Yes, she nodded. Understood. The door closed. Silence returned. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling for a moment. My phone buzzed again. Another message, another name. Ava. Can we talk? I didn't reply. I didn't even open it. A knock came at the door. Come in. Ryan stepped inside, holding 2 coffees. You're getting popular again, he said. She handing me one, I took it. I was always popular, just not to the right people. He smirked. Fair. He sat down across from me. They've been trying hard, huh? Too hard, I replied. Feels good? I thought about it, then shook my head. No. Ryan raised an eyebrow. No? It feels irrelevant. He studied me for a second. You really moved on. I didn't move on, I said calmly. I moved forward. He nodded slowly. Big difference. I stood up, grabbing my jacket. Meeting time. After you, he said. Hours later, I walked back into my office. The city outside was glowing under the evening lights. Calm, beautiful, unreachable. For most, but not for me. My assistant rushed in. Mister, my Carter, there's someone here to see you. I'm not taking meetings. She said it's important. Everyone says that. She's already inside. I frowned slightly. Who? Before she could answer, the door opened. Ava walked in. She looked different, not polished, not confident, just uncertain. My assistant quietly left, closing the door behind her. Ava stood there for a moment. Hi, she said softly. I didn't respond right away. I walked past her, placing my folder on the desk. What do you want? Her expression tightened. Can we talk? We're talking. She took a small step forward. Daniel, please. I looked at her, really looked at her. This was the same woman who once looked through me like I didn't exist. Now she looked like she was afraid to lose my attention. Say what you came to say, I replied. She swallowed. I was wrong. Silence. I judged you without knowing you, she continued. I nodded slightly. You did. I didn't understand who you were. That's not true, I said calmly. She blinked. What? You understood exactly who you thought I was. Her voice softened. That's not fair. It's accurate. She looked down. I didn't know. You didn't care, I interrupted. Her lips parted, but no words came out. I stood right in front of you, I continued. And you decided I wasn't worth your time. I didn't mean it like that. But you did it like that. Silence filled the room. Heavy, uncomfortable. She took another step closer. I want to fix this. I let out a quiet breath. There's nothing to fix. There is, she insisted. We can start over. I almost smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was familiar. I used to hope you'd say that, I said. Her eyes lit up slightly. Then, but not anymore, I finished. That light disappeared instantly. Why? She whispered. I held her gaze. Because I don't need you to choose me anymore. Her voice broke. I am choosing you? I shook my head. That's the problem. She frowned. I don't understand. You're choosing me now, I said calmly, after you saw my value. That's not why. It is, I cut her off. You just don't want it to sound that way. Tears formed in her eyes. I made a mistake. Everyone does. Then why can't you forgive me? I paused, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted her to understand. This isn't about forgiveness, I said quietly. Then what is it about? Respect. She froze. You didn't respect me then, I continued, and now you expect everything to be different. It is different. Yes, I said, because I am. Silence again. She wiped her eyes. I regret it, she said. I nodded. I know. I think about it every day. I'm sure you do. Her voice trembled. Doesn't that matter? I looked at her for a long moment, then answered honestly. No. That hurt her. I could see it. Why? She asked. Because regret doesn't change what you chose. She stepped back slightly. I didn't know I would lose you. That's exactly the problem, I said. Her breathing became uneven. You thought I would always be there, I continued. No matter what you did. She didn't deny it, because she couldn't. And now that I'm not, I added, you finally understand. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I nodded once. I know. Silence. Final. She looked at me like she was searching for something, anything, but there was nothing left to give. You really don't feel anything anymore? She asked softly. I thought about it, then answered truthfully. No. Her shoulders dropped. I lost you. I didn't respond immediately. Then I said, yes. She nodded slowly, like she finally accepted it. I understand, she whispered. She turned toward the door, each step heavier than the last. She stopped just before leaving. Daniel, I stayed silent. I really did care about you. I looked at her, and for the first time, I believed her. But it didn't matter. Goodbye, Ava. She held my gaze for a second longer. Then she left. The door closed softly. Ryan walked in a moment later. Well, he asked. I exhaled slowly. It's done. He studied my face. You okay? I nodded. Yeah. And this time, I meant it. Because I didn't lose her. I lost the version of myself that needed her. And that was the real victory. A month later, I saw them again. All 5 of them, together. Ryan walked beside me as we entered the building. You ready? He asked. I always am. We stepped into the main hall, and that's when I saw them, standing there. Ava, Sophia, Mia, Chloe, Isabella. Ryan let out a quiet breath. Well, that's awkward. I didn't respond, because something was different. They looked different, not confident, not proud, just uncertain, like they didn't know where they stood anymore. Ava took a small step forward. Daniel, I kept walking. Ryan glanced at me. You're not stopping? No. Behind me, I heard it. Daniel, a whisper, soft, almost broken. I didn't turn. Ryan smirked slightly. That's new. People change, I said, or they realize too late. Same thing. We kept walking, past them, while half through them, like they weren't even there, and for the first time, they understood what that felt like. We stepped outside. The city stretched in front of us, alive, bright, unstoppable. Ryan looked at me. How does it feel? I took a slow breath. Clear? No anger? No. No satisfaction? I shook my head. Just clarity. He nodded. That's rare. I looked ahead. They didn't reject me because I was poor. Ryan glanced at me. Then why? Because they thought I was worth less. He stayed quiet. And now? He asked. I smiled slightly. Now they know better. But it doesn't matter anymore. Ryan chuckled. Cold. Honest. He looked back toward the building. They're still watching. I didn't turn. Let them. You're really done with all of them? I thought about it for a second. One then answered simply. Yes. He nodded. Good. We started walking down the street. Cars passed, lights flickered, life moved on, just like I did. You've changed, Ryan said. I had to. For them? I shook my head. For me. He smiled. About time. I looked ahead, hands in my pockets. The world didn't change, I said. Ryan raised an eyebrow. No? No, I replied. I did. He nodded slowly, and that made all the difference. I stopped for a moment, looking out at the city, the same world, but everything felt different because I wasn't the same man anymore, and I never would be again. Let's go, I said. Ryan grinned. Where to? Forward. And this time, I didn't look back.